sounds like how I feel today. At wit's end. The universe is playing a lot of tricks on me right now, and I know why. Because this 12 days before there's a change going on in my life. And the universe likes to fuck with me when that happens. You know, it's like a change in the energy. Changing the energy patterns are happening. So I'm getting all kinds of weird incidents all of a sudden. Things that I wasn't expecting to happen are happening. It's just very, very odd. Somewhat unsettling in some ways. But I'm still here. I've got dental problems. My recorders aren't working. I'm having weird incidents behind the wheel too. It's like people are cutting me off. I'm having these. Ordinarily, it's a boring shift, but I have bicycles that I almost got hit. I have cars that are trying to get hit. I mean, really stupid things they're doing right now. So I mean, it's all bizarre energy shit that's freaking me out, man. This way, I don't like that. This way is so much easier. And that way is so messy over there. That's a lovely intersection there. Anyway, the count is 12. We're at 12. Trying to get through this. God, I've been thinking all day that today's Friday. I want Friday so bad that I've been running around all day, and I've done it twice in one day where I've actually somehow convinced myself that it was Friday and was doing things that I would be doing on a Friday. And then I went, oh no, it's Thursday. I mean, I woke up thinking it was Friday. Oh, it's Friday. Nope. It's not. Anyway, here we are today, and we've got our pension figures, a cool $15,000 a month for Fast Freddy. $15,000 a month. And for Fast Freddy, he's got more than TriMet, don't forget. He's got EPA, and he's got DEQ. He's what's called a double dipper. Of course, you know Fast Freddy would be double dipping all over the place. So it's pretty good when you can retire on a six-figure retirement income. But congratulations to the TriMet department, even though they delayed me for a month, they did provide the figures. And, sweet deal for the general managers of TriMet. Every month for basking in the sun or wherever he is. Nice cool check for 15 grand. And yet they worry about our health care. See, that's just one exec. I mean, how many other execs are getting paid here? I don't know who's retired and who's not. I guess Peggy Hansen is. I don't know. Did she get 30 years here? I think she did, didn't she? Well, whatever. Don't worry, it's all going to go belly up eventually here. Even though we think everything is okay, it's not okay. You know, it's going to be greasier soon enough. I just hope that I'm not around when it happens. Well, actually, I do want to be around because there should be excitement when all of a sudden they try to cut your pension and my pension by half, and reduce the minimum wage, and lay off 300,000 government workers, and you know, they're starving Greeks. Greeks are being starved out of existence. You know. And don't worry, one of these days it will end here, because how much debt do we have as a country? Unfunded liabilities, no matter where you go. Well, let me tell you, folks, at some point, it has to go bust, because you cannot keep putting more debt on already existing debt and have it go on for infinity. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to explode. And it will explode when nobody's expecting it. You know how that's how it works, right? Nothing ever happens according to our plan. My guess of the explosion will be after the 2012 elections. Okay? And of course they're talking war in Iran, which is insane. It's Nazism. We're like Nazis, man. Bombing innocent people that had nothing to do with us. Nobody cares. Nobody's protesting. I know, what do we do? It's like, what do we do? We're the serfs. You know, as long as they give us our cable TV and our iPhones, I guess we're okay, right? Because that's what we need. To take away those things, take away our organ ducts, and maybe there'd be somebody paying attention. I don't know. It's pretty discouraging, man. You know, it certainly is. It's just a discouraging state of affairs. And you know, I see them fucking with our health care while Fast Freddy's pulling in like cool, Jesus, $175,000 a year, government money, payroll tax. Wow. He didn't have any problem resigning, did he? And what will I get? $800. That's because Fred was so much more important than me in the world, right? Somebody like me is worth $800, but somebody like him is worth $15,000. Plus, I had to stay here 3 years longer. I was here before Fred, and I'm here after Fred. But I don't have any skills like Fred. Fred is a highly skilled, what is he? He's a politician, and he's connected. These are all about these are all people that have the right connections. That's how you get into these jobs. You don't get in them by applying, although they do have their little search committees, but the search committees are already, you have to be already in the club to be considered by the search committee. And given the fact that Fred ruined this place, and as he departed now everything is in turmoil, he's well worth $175,000 a year. Look at how much turmoil he's left behind. Buses are in shambles, services in shambles, fares are in shambles, strife like you wouldn't believe in the agency. But we all knew this was coming because it was very obvious. All the good executives got the fuck out of here because they were smart. And that includes Fred. He was no stupid man. Very, very brilliant man. Fred was a brilliant man, I will say that. He had a certain brilliance to him. And he always gave a good show. Even though he was a terrible public speaker, he gave a good show. And I always enjoyed his shows. So Fred, wherever you are, you're in beautiful Australia, enjoying the weather. I know, well, what the hell? At least you don't know any of the, what is it, 30 kids that die every minute of starvation on the planet. It was a story that came out of the Democracy Now! Program. It's like 30 kids every minute in the world die of hunger. There you go. Meanwhile, I'm driving to work, and Fred's got $155,000 a year. Who knows what McFarlane's going to get? He's been here like 25 years. So he must be worth at least, shit, $210,000 now that he's made it to the top shithead job where he can take pleasure out of screwing people. Light rail works, you know. If you don't have light rail, you die. And I read an article today that said that. These poor, they're blaming the Detroit economic crisis in Detroit on the lack of rail. How about that for a jump? Talk about a jump in logic, that's it. I mean, for crying out loud, we all know that the failure of Detroit had to do with the car industry, which had nothing to do with light rail. As a matter of fact, if it hadn't been for cars, if the car hadn't gone down, that's interesting now that I think of it, they're saying that the light rail failure, the failure of light rail in Detroit caused Detroit's collapse, when we all know it was Detroit, which was heavily dependent on cars. And the whole argument for the rail was that, well, if you don't get it now, and then cars, infrastructure doesn't have any cars or something, everything's going to die. But in the case of Detroit, now that's ironic, since Detroit was known as the Motor City, thereby defeating the entire premise that rail would be good. Actually, rail would be the worst thing for a place like Detroit, because it would get some people out of cars, and you wouldn't want it to be getting people out of cars. No, the failure of this country has nothing to do with rail. It has to do with exporting our jobs overseas, because they can work for 10 cents an hour when we actually deserve, say we want like a decent wage. That's the failure of this country. It's nothing to do. Light rail is a farce. It makes sense in certain situations. I've always said the blue line is an example of a successful light rail. The yellow line's a joke, the green line's a joke, and Milwaukee's a joke. It didn't need to be done. It was all done for economic reasons. It was not done, didn't improve transit. It actually made transit worse, because the people along those lines they only have much more limited access to stops than they did on the bus 5. I guess the green line didn't do anything. The 72s are running just as they always have. That line didn't actually lose hardly any ride. The green line, nobody really knows where those people are coming from. They're coming from crosstown buses, I think, or downtown buses that were previously going into town. The light rail was faster to do that, so. It's just really, the streetcar, we know it's all about, that's about condos. It's supposed to bring in all these shops. It brings in it helps gentrify a place. That's not about transit. This is not about transit. The hijacking of transit funds is about economic things, making developers rich. That's why I support the Republicans stripping the transit. But we in Portland have wasted our federal funds. That doesn't mean that other places should be penalized, because Portland is like the prime example of how to waste your federal money on everything but transit. And our system's dying. I think Jack Bogdanski's right, along with some of the conservatives. We don't have a future. Our black hole is huge here. How long can you operate in a black hole? They've been operating in black holes for 40 years. Can it go another 40 years? Imagine what the unfunded liability would be in another 40 years. You can't even really imagine it, can you? It would be trillions of dollars just from TriMet. It's already trillions of dollars for the U.S. government. See, everything is in debt. The U.S. government, the state government, the local government. Sheesh. When will it explode? Will I actually get to see Medicare and Social Security, even though there's money in there, even though the wacko conservative friends would tell you otherwise?